Welcome to the JP8 Report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 Report, episode 419. This is the real episode 419. If you know, you know. So if you were watching yesterday, you know what happened. But let me get this going here. All right. Welcome everyone for tuning in. I already had something just broke. New York Post, I just printed it 2 minutes ago. It just came over the wire. Okay. About Iran saying that they're reclosing the Strait of Hormuz, but we'll get to that in just a minute. We got other really important things to cover. All right. We'll go through the regular format and stuff. Welcome to the JPA Report. I really appreciate y'all. We made it to Friday, barely. Okay. As we get moving, if you're not already a follower of the channel here, all right, of the JPA Report, or if you look on your screen, to the right of the join button is a little bell. Click that bell, and at the bottom you'll see follow. Click that and you become a follower. That easy. Okay, and while you're there, click on the thumbs up, smash that button right there for a like for the podcast itself, and then you can get in there and chat with us, right? I may be signing off about 5 minutes earlier and stuff. I got a Friday breakfast I go with a bunch of people, but it starts at 9. I'm always late, but they know I do this, okay? I'm looking forward to see my buddy Ricky. Hopefully he gets on here to be with us and stuff. But that would be cool. America 250. We'll do the America 250 first. Let me get that set. So America 250, on this day in 1776, John Jay led the Committee to Detect Conspiracies in New York to investigate a plot against General Washington, which resulted in the arrest of several British loyalists. So back then, you still needed a protective service team. I think that's where we got the old guard from, because they're the continuous activated U.S. Army unit in the history of the Army. Okay, but I could be wrong. But yeah, so that's what happened this day in history. And now we got the armament shop. Whether you're looking for your first firearm, upgrading your setup, or need expert service, Jason at the Armament Shop is Copper's Cove's premier source for all things shooting. Browse our wide selection of pistols, rifles, and shotguns, backed by top-tier gunsmithing for repairs, along with reloading supplies and professional cleaning to keep your firearm in peak condition. Need a transfer? We make FFL transfers fast, easy, and affordable. Need your concealed handgun license? Jason can handle those classes both online and in person. He has over 3 decades of experience. Visit the Armament Shop today at 115A West Avenue D in Coppers Cove, or call or text at 254-560-2023, or visit www.armamentshop.com. That's www.armamentshop.com. The Armament Shop, your safety, our priority. All right, so let me get set here. All right, so we have the Iran update coming up. So the first part of the Iran update is, well, the vice president is not leaving for Switzerland today, and they said it's due to logistics and timing. All right, as national gas prices drop below $4 a gallon, right? So this just crossed the wire just a couple of minutes ago. Dateline Israel. Netanyahu says Hezbollah will pay a very heavy price for attacks on Israeli soldiers and territory. This comes from Fox News. Israeli Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu vowed Friday that the Iran-backed Hezbollah terrorist group in Lebanon will pay a very heavy price for attacks on Israeli soldiers and territory. The remark comes after the IDF said 4 soldiers were killed in southern Lebanon. I send heartfelt condolences to the families of Commander of the Corps, Armored Corps 52nd Battalion, Lieutenant Colonel de Gordia Ben Simon, and 3 heroic fighters whose names have not yet been cleared for publication. May God avenge their blood. I wish also to speed a recovery to the wounded in the exchanges of fire yesterday. My directive is clear. Israel will not tolerate attacks on our soldiers or territory, and it will exact a very heavy price for Hezbollah for these attacks. The IDF will act to thwart any threat to our forces and our territory. Hezbollah was told, don't attack. Hezbollah was told, don't attack. What do you expect? 4 soldiers were killed in the line of duty on an unprovoked attack. Man, what are they supposed to do? There's already been an attack back into Lebanon because of what happened. And then this happened 3 minutes before the show started this morning. Iran reclosed the Strait of Hormuz Friday instead of coming to Switzerland to engage in nuclear negotiations, citing Israel's refusal to leave Lebanon and U.S. forces' ongoing presence in the region. In a statement read over maritime radio channels, because they don't have a digital radio signal because they can't keep a stable government, the IRGC, that's the problem number 2 right there. The IRGC said that U.S. was in violation of the memorandum of understanding between the 2 countries, which President Trump and Iranian President Pezeshkian signed on Wednesday. Since Israel's withdrawal from Lebanon, the complete lifting of naval blockade and the withdrawal of American terrorist force. In the Persian Gulf in the region, along with main conditions of the agreement between Iran and the United States, the strait will remain closed until these conditions are met. All ships are requested, for the sake of security and safety, not to approach the Strait of Hormuz. Any vessel that defies this directive will be. That's against international law, right there. Wow. The U.S. Central Command said Thursday it had formally lifted the 2-month blockade on Iranian ports. It is not immediately clear what terrain meant by the embargo removing not being complete. The IRGC announcement came hours after the first round of U.S.-Iran nuclear talks have achieved through the MOU and scheduled for Friday were called off. The U.S. has not given a reason for the postponement. A source on Wednesday this is Friday, told the Post that some hardliners in the Iran regime are arguing against attending since canceled the MOU signing ceremony until Israel moves its troops from southern Lebanon, and it has been hunting Hezbollah terrorists. The 2 issues okay. Maybe we need to go in and directly assault the IRGC and decapitate them. That might give Iran a chance. It looks like the main issue is the IRGC and Hezbollah. But Hezbollah does not do anything without the IRGC and the Quds Force. It looks like the IRGC does not want this memorandum. You fire on any unarmed vessel because the strait's supposed to be open, you're just egging it on. I think the president just needs the memorandum's in effect. We're gonna defend these ships. Take a shot and see what happens. All it takes, one shot, and they'll put a 5-inch round through the hull of a mosquito boat, and it'll be over. Because that's all they got. They don't even have mosquito boats. It's been months. Wow. Okay. So, where are we at? Iran's spiritual leader didn't want the MOU, but Iranian president, I just mentioned the name in there, starts with a P, it's hard to pronounce, took personal responsibility for the memorandum. Maybe that was cue for the IRGC to do what they want because the spiritual leader did not want it in the first place. The ceasefire in Lebanon all depends on Hezbollah, which Hezbollah already violated it by attacking, now killing Israeli soldiers. You kill an American soldier, guess what? It's the same thing as killing an Israeli soldier. We're going to get retribution on it. The European Union won't lift sanctions until after the nuclear deal. Iran's supposed to clear all mines from the Strait of Hormuz, and then the U.S. imposes new sanction on Hezbollah-linked networks, and Iran has invited the IAEA to inspect nuclear sites. Now, the Dow Jones yesterday closed up 72.50 points, up to 51,564.70. West Texas Intermediate, wait a minute. I'm going to get an update on this since this came out. Let's see what happens. Okay. So right now, it went down a little bit. That's good. Brent crude oil is at $79 a barrel. And West Texas Intermediate dropped to $75.32 a barrel. So maybe cool heads are prevailing at this point. Okay? We shall see. This is ridiculous. All right. How do you like my shirt? That's cool. I love it. It's from Grunt Style. Go to gruntstyle.com. Okay? It's really cool. If you like this shirt, put an American flag in the chat. I'm putting one in there right now. There we go. All right. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, talking about American flags, I know I covered this on Monday. I'm going to do it one last time because their Medal of Honor ceremonies was yesterday. All right. So here we go. Major Nicholas Dockery, as a second lieutenant, leading a combined force of American and Afghan soldiers in Kapisa province on October 2nd, 2012, Dockery's unit came under fire from a large Taliban force armed with machine guns, RPGs, and small arms. Throughout the battle, Dockery repeatedly crossed open ground under enemy fire to rally friendly forces, reinforce isolated positions, and strengthen the defense. As the fighting intensified, he used his body to shield a fellow soldier from a grenade blast, led counterattacks against enemy fighters, and fought his way to an unconscious teammate who was being dragged away by enemy combatants. After rescuing the soldier and administering life-saving aid, he continued exposing himself to enemy fire while directing the fight and helping friendly aircraft suppress the attack. Dockery continued serving after this deployment, earning his Green Beret and leading special forces teams in some of the military's most demanding assignments. All right. President Trump was on mark yesterday, describing the events of these three officers that are receiving the Medal of Honor. This guy right here that I just spoke about, if you ever watched Band of Brothers, there was a battle. They were clearing I think they were clearing a German village or something. I forgot which one it was, but it portrayed Lieutenant Spear from 2nd of the 506 that he was from not Easy Company. I think he was from Charlie, but he sprinted across an open battlefield, getting shot at by Germans, coordinated with one of his platoons, and then turn around and run all the way back to his position and being shot at and never got hit. I mean, yeah, we know Nick got hit, Major Dockery, but this was stories in the making. Okay, next one I'm going to talk about really quick. This guy is very famous. He's been all over Fox. They've made documentaries on him. He's very. The day is Juneteenth, so this is what they call Freedom Day. In Texas is when Texas was notified that the war was over and all slaves were free. We invented Juneteenth here in Texas. Okay, it's all over the country now, but Major James Capers Jr. as a second lieutenant leading a 9-man force recon patrol near Fulok in April 1967. Capers and his team repeatedly encountered larger enemy forces while operating deep in contested territory on the patrol's final day. An ambush left him severely wounded by gunfire and fragmentation wounds. Despite significant blood loss and extensive injuries, Capers, and he broke his leg. Capers continued directing supporting fires, coordinating his team's movements, and overseeing the evacuation. Refusing to leave before his Marines, he remained in command until every member of the patrol was safely aboard the extraction helicopter. Over a 22-year Marine Corps career, Capers broke barriers and opened doors for future generations of Marines, becoming the first Black Marine to join Force Recon, and he was the first Black to receive a battlefield commission. He was in Marine Special Forces, and he commanded a reconnaissance company. All right. He was on Fox and Friends earlier this morning when I was doing the morning brief. I should have recorded it because I wanted to hear him talk, but they got a special called the Iron Major on Fox Nation. I know I'm not advertising them because they're still really good, but they did a whole documentary on the life of James Capers. Okay, the last one I'm going to talk about, Colonel John Walter Ripley. He was a senior advisor in the 3rd Vietnamese Marine Corps Infantry Battalion near Dong Ho in South Vietnam. Then Captain Ripley faced a rapidly advancing North Vietnamese offensive in April 1972, recognizing that a key bridge over the Quai Viet River had to be destroyed to slow the attack. He repeatedly climbed beneath the bridge while under continuous enemy fire to emplace hundreds of pounds of explosive, hanging from the bridge steel girders for 5 hours, positioned and prepared the charges before successfully destroying the span. His actions helped blunt the enemy advance and provided critical time for South Vietnamese forces to regroup and defend the region. Known to generations of Marines as Ripley at the Bridge, his actions became an enduring example of courage, initiative, and selfless service. All right. Thank you for all 3 of those men that went above and beyond anything we can even imagine doing in our life in the military. Right? Man. All right. So the next thing I want to show you is it's in the title of the podcast, right? $2.98 gas. That picture was taken in Harker Heights yesterday afternoon by Rob Inter. He's a really good friend of mine. He's on here. He usually comes up as Retired Rob 53. He was getting gas yesterday. Saw that. He called me. I said, can you take a picture of it for me? I will put it in the podcast tomorrow morning. So he did. That's great. Isn't it? $2.98. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, thank you, thank you. MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. The whole way. The left said it couldn't be done, and he did it. All right? Oh, let me resettle here. Settle down a little bit. All righty. Y'all ready for this? Sounds like a song. All right. So, first thing we'll go over, the vice president warning Israeli leaders critical of Trump, wake up. Okay? So the vice president yesterday warned Israeli leaders against alienating President Trump with personal attacks over the Iran deal, reminding them that the Trump administration is the one of that country's few remaining allies. Senior Israeli officials, such as their national security minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, have been vocally critical of the Iran deal and called on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to ignore the key terms, while some having lobbied personal attacks on President Donald Trump. What I will say, this is a quote, what I will say, and this does bother me, that you've seen people within Bibi's cabinet who have come out and attacked the deal, and in some ways very personal attacked the President of the United States. And I guess my message to them would be twofold. Number one, Donald J. Trump is the only head of state in the entire world who is sympathetic to the nation of Israel. And at this moment in time, he happens to be the head of state of the world superpower. Vance said, if I was in the cabinet of the Israeli government, I might not be attacking the only powerful ally that have anywhere left in the world. And then on the next point, I would give to some of those cabinet members, Bibi, to his credit, has not gone down this path, but to some of these cabinet members in Israel who are attacking the president of the United States. The other thing is, I would say that over the last 3 months, 2/3 of the defensive weapons that have protected your homeland have been built by American hands and paid for by American tax dollars. He added, the problem for Israel is not Donald J. Trump. Anybody in Israel who thinks their biggest problem is the president of the United States needs to wake up and smell the reality of the situation that their country is in. Flat out. Very true. Every point. Especially where you get your weapons from. So if you didn't have American weapons, would y'all be speaking Arabic or Hebrew? Because you only got a couple of nuclear weapons. After that, it's over. Right? Before I get to the next one, I meant to tell y'all also that we got a few people online. So this is Tulsi Gabbard's last day as the DNI, right? And she released some information last night. I didn't get a chance to integrate it into the podcast for this morning. I have it on the computer, that's all, okay? And I got it from Just the News. It says, Gabbard says on last day as DNI releasing, never before seen docs linking Fauci, tax dollars, and Wuhan. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard on Friday, on her final day on the job, said she is releasing never-before-seen communications and documents exposing how Dr. Anthony Fauci, wonder who that is, provided millions in U.S. tax dollars to fund dangerous gain-of-function research at the Wuhan lab in China. Fauci was the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases during the COVID-19 pandemic. China has said the virus jumped from animal to animal at a food market near the lab, which has also conducted so-called gain-of-function research, which is generally regarded as manipulating a virus to gain insight of how it will function if mutated. The intelligence community appears to divide on how the deadly virus spread worldwide. The FBI Energy Department assesses with low to moderate confidence that an accident lab leak is most likely the source. The CIA concluded with low confidence it is more likely that the virus had a research-related origin than a natural one. Very true. I'm relating how Dr. Fauci has worked within the intelligence community to suppress the truth about his actions and hide the virus lab leak origins and lied to Congress while under oath in 2024. It's a time you know the truth. Okay? And that's on justthenews.com. There's a link at the very bottom of it, and he goes to her X account, and he goes more into it, along with a video that it's 5 minutes and 21 seconds. I'm not going to even attempt to play it, but I should, but I won't. Go to her X account. It's at DNI Tulsi Gabbard. Okay, her handle on X is at DNI Gabbard, Gabbard, and it plays the whole thing. Okay, so let me get back here. We got other things to go over. Don't forget, give me a like and follow the podcast, please. Okay. All right. So next thing, Todd Blanche. Todd Blanche is the acting Attorney General. He was the Deputy Attorney General, and he was the President's personal lawyer before he came into office, right? When Pam Bondi was removed, not fired, but removed and placed elsewhere before she learned she had cancer also, when she left, Todd Blanche was made acting Attorney General. Last week, the president said, "You're it." So he is the nominee for the Attorney General's position. He got July 15th was assigned for his confirmation hearing in the Senate Judiciary Committee. Said the Senate Judiciary Committee set a date for acting Attorney General Todd Blanche's confirmation hearing next month, where he will testify about his record in the Trump administration. Spokesman for the Judiciary Committee, Chuck Grassley, told Politico, and like I said earlier, why is anyone wanting to be interviewed by Politico? That Attorney General nominee will appear before the panel on July 15th, and outside witnesses will testify on July 16th. That move means Blanche could be confirmed before the August recess. President Trump nominated Blanche last week. He has been serving in that position in acting capacity ever since Pam Bondi left in April. Blanche previously served as Bondi's deputy. The acting Attorney General met with Grassley on Monday, where the chairman spoke favorably about Blanche's career in a statement, but noted he was still waiting for the Justice Department to produce some documents he requested. I appreciated the opportunity to sit down with Todd Blanche. He spent the last year and a half supporting President Trump's mission of law and order as deputy and is now acting attorney general. Blanche is prepared to build on that success and continue working hard to keep American families safe as the next attorney general. And then North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis also signaled Tuesday that he would be okay with Blanche as Attorney General, but said he still has some questions about before he could officially approve the nomination. And then John Cornyn, Rhino, man, who has been skeptical of making Blanche Attorney General, has not committed to confirming the nominee and previously said his largest concern is Blanche's history as Trump's former personal lawyer. Yeah, okay. You get beat in a primary, now you want to thumb your nose. I've voted with the president 99% of the time. Yeah, okay. What now? You get beat and then you just turn tails, and then 1% of the time you vote for President Trump. Man. All right. So July 15th is his confirmation hearing in the Senate. And then July 16th, outside sources get to testify. And then shortly thereafter, they'll have the full Senate vote. All right. Now, something we've been discussing the last few days about Jay Clayton and Jamie McDonald. Since Tulsi Gabbard is leaving as DNI, Jay Clayton has been nominated to replace her. Jay Clayton right now is the U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of New York. So the president nominated Jamie McDonald, his personal lawyer, to be the new U.S. Attorney. The problem you have is they were trying to fast track Jay Clayton's, more so than not, his nomination as the DNI. And people are like, whoa, what's up? Why are they trying to get him in there so fast? Well, the problem is the fight between the Save America Act and the Save America Act and the FISA Section 702 renewal. And that correlates back to Jamie McDonald, because Jamie McDonald is trying to be the U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of New York, and a lot of counterterrorism stuff there, right? Well, the problem is, if they confirm Jay Clayton now, that would leave that position empty, and that would make Jamie McDonald endangered, because, as most people know, in the Senate, any U.S. senator can do what they call pull a blue slip to prevent the permanent hearing of anyone in that state that's looking for a job as a judge or as a U.S. attorney. Okay? So with that open spot there, you have Kristen Gillibrand and Chucky Schumer that are senators in New York. And either one of them has to do is pull that blue slip. Chuck Grassley, who I was just talking about, he's older than dirt. He said he's not interested in removing the gentleman's agreement for the blue slip. No, this is ridiculous. The blue slip needs to go. It's against the Constitution. Shouldn't be there. So the president put his foot down. First, you confirm Jamie McDonald as the U.S. Attorney, and then the president will have the confirmation hearing and the vote for Jay Clayton. Okay, so it's too easy. And at the same time, y'all can vote for the Save America Act. No Save America Act, no FISA. The new DNI is going to need the FISA access, but right now it's locked. So Save America Act equals FISA Act. Which one do you want? Is it really worth the fight with the President of the United States over this? All right. There's too many lawyers out there. I mean, politicians out there. I hope you got that. You have guys that are openly, Joni Ernst, Ted Cruz, uh, um, Mitch McConnell, John Thune, John Cornyn. You have Tom Tillis. You have Susan Collins. All these people are against the that are, man, I hear noise, that are against the oh man, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, the Save America Act. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the Save America Act. You got to pass that guys. The president said nothing else gets approved until that Save America Act gets voted in. It can be done. You got to do it, right? Wow, it's already 8:36. Let me get my posture right and set up right. Hold on. Come on, give me some American flags in the chat. All right, so according to this article, it says President Trump on Wednesday, which was the day before yesterday, said that the Senate confirmation hearing for his pick as ODNI U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Jay Clayton, has been canceled and the process put on hold pending the approval of Jamie McDonald for Clayton's position. Meanwhile, Bill Pulte, he arrived at work this morning one day early, will remain as acting director, Trump said in a True Social post. Trump criticized Republicans for an agreement with Democrats to remove Pulte from the position in exchange for extending the Section 702 of the FISA Act, which authorizes the warrantless surveillance of foreigners abroad. The provision expired at the end of last week after the House voted down an extension. Now the Democrats, the president put this on True Social, now the Democrats are saying they will vote against FISA, so the Republicans wound up having to fulfill their commitment, but Democrats broke the deal. Trump said he doesn't care. Trump says he doesn't want to pull Clayton from the SDNY without McDonald first being confirmed to replace him. Therefore, to add a little bit of intrigue to, but it's good for the nation, good for our people of our country. I will not approve FISA without the Save America Act going along with it. Case closed. Full stop. All right. Confirm McDonald, then you get the confirmed Clayton. You need to pass the Save America Act if you want the FISA Act renewed. Too easy. Too easy. So yesterday there were 3 Supreme Court rulings. There are going to be, they said 1 or 2 sessions next week for opinions, and they may have up to 8 to 17 cases apiece, which would clear the whole docket for the rest of the session. All right. The Supreme Court unanimously, that'd be 9-0, unanimously on Thursday that the federal government's use of a federal law restricting gun possession for certain unlawful drug users to be inconsistent with the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment protects the rights of all Americans to keep and bear firearms for self-defense. The court's narrow ruling reads, according to the government's broad power to designate any group of dangerous and thereby disqualify its members from having a gun would risk allowing it to quickly swallow the Second Amendment. Known as U.S. versus Imani, the case centers around the government's prosecution of Ali Homani, a Texas resident who was charged under the provision of a 1968 Gun Control Act that prohibits a person as unlawful user of or an addicted to any controlled substance from possessing a firearm. and Hamani admitted that he's a regular marijuana user. The statute was previously used to indict Hunter Biden just a couple years ago. Writing for the majority, Justice Gorsuch, noted how the government sought to use the statute to automatically strip Hamani of his Second Amendment rights because he had used marijuana on a few times a week. In seeking to advance this expansive theory, the administration urged the court to draw an analogy between the present regulation and the historical laws addressing habitual drunkards, and to argue, demonstrate a traditional firearm regulation consistent with this effort to disarm any regular user of a controlled substance without further warning. But the government's analogy fails under every measure that it asks to be reconsidered, Gorsuch wrote. The historical laws are which relies on targeted different kinds of people, did so for a different reason and canceled in different ways. And face all these shortcomings in the government's submission, we cannot say how the carrier concealed carried his concealed burden of showing its prosecution. Mr. Hamani complies with the Second Amendment. So this is in relation just to him. It's not overseen in the whole country, okay? But he was arrested because he was smoking marijuana, but he had a weapon on him at the same time, and they disarmed him for it, and he filed suit, okay? 8:43. We're running out of time. So the Third Circuit Court of Appeals this last week, ruled in favor of President Trump about if he had the authority to remove slavery exhibits in Philadelphia. The Third Circuit Court of Appeals said yes, it does, because the state of Pennsylvania did not own that facility. The appeals court ruled on Thursday that the Department of Interior can, in fact, remove and replace slavery exhibit at the site of the United States' first executive residence in Philadelphia. The exhibit was removed without notice from the President's House site in the Independence National Historical Park earlier this year, in a move presumably pursuant with President Trump's executive order to remove signs and exhibits that contain descriptions, depictions, and other content that inappropriately disparage Americans, past or living, including persons living in the colonial period. A three-judge panel on the Third Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that a lower court did not have the authority to block the president's order because Philadelphia does not own the President's House or Independence Hall National Park. The court would not have considered the merits of the jurisdiction's analysis. Judge Thomas Hardiman wrote, and while the court was ultimately correct in concluding that the city has standing, it did so on incorrect, premature understanding of the relevant strategy, and the contractual agreements. The city initially sued Trump administration in January for allegedly violating the 2006 contract with the city and the property, which was stated as the federal government would be responsible for maintaining the site. However, one part of the agreement that included the requirement of the government issued must have been mutual arrangement for changes from the city. What do y'all think about that, huh? So those locations are owned by the federal government, not by the city. So that means every federal building as belongs to the Department of Justice, right? You can look at it like that. This is Department of Interior. It controls the national monuments across the country. This is one of them. You can't just arbitrarily go in and put an anti-slavery, that we don't have slavery, not for 160 years now. Come on, people, wise up, wise up, man. 8:47. Let's see. Before I get to that, so at President Biden's, these aren't the droids you're looking for ceremony in Chicago yesterday. It doesn't get no better than this, people. Joe Biden was there. I don't know why they don't just automatically just say Joe Biden has Alzheimer's. He's got it. He's either got a major case of dementia or a minor case of Alzheimer's. You know, when President Reagan got Alzheimer's, Nancy Reagan announced it to the world, and he gave one final speech saying he's going off the air, right? This guy doesn't have a clue what he's talking about. This came from This came from New York Post. They just left him here. Former President Joe Biden was awkwardly left lingering by himself on stage at the grand opening of the Barack Obama Presidential Center in Chicago, tepidly waving to the crowd after the ceremony ended. A gleeful Obama had walked off the stage to the music, followed by a smiling First Lady Jill Biden, while the 46th president stood there seemingly dazed by himself. For reasons that aren't clear, the 83-year-old went over to the podium, took off his sunglasses before staring into the crowd with a puzzled look on his face. Where's my granddaughter? He shouted. See, he's got problems. And this is more like dementia than Alzheimer's. The former president seemingly started to make his way off stage before footage of the event cut off. Biden's rare public outing was reminiscent of parts of his presidency when he was seen wandering off at events and looked with a confused look on his face. You know, when people say that, hold on, let me see this. Okay. Message from the Veterans Administration. You know, we know he has dementia. We know he does, right? Why do you let him wander all by himself? He just embarrassed everybody that was in leadership that was up there. He walked up to the podium, took his sunglasses off. Where's my granddaughter? Oh my goodness. You just let the man wander around, grab the mic, and make a fool of himself. Why would you do that? Man, I don't like Joe Biden. But you know what? I don't set him up for failure like that. That's ridiculous. Man, why? Where's Dr. Biden at? The non-doctor doctor. Yeah, where's the non-doctor doctor? Because she's a doctor in education. Why would you let them do that to your husband? 8:50. You know what? I'm thinking I'm going to save these. This might be pretty close to a good stopping point. This last one that I was going to talk about was about the House of Representatives in the state of Georgia thumbed their nose at their speaker, John Burns, right? And said that they're not going to entertain redistricting and they're in a special session. If I was their governor, Brian Kemp, I would you're coming back. You're going to entertain it. It was not going to go into effect until 2028 anyway, right? But they said no. They absolutely said no. And that when they said no, so Republicans need to learn this. When they say, I'm going to stand up and voice my opinion and get my way, the Democrats are salivating at that point in time because they are going to wait until you stand up and embarrass yourself, get you on camera, and exploit it to the whole world. So they know there's ascension in the ranks. That's what you got here. Really. Unbelievable. And the group is called REPAIR, the Redistricting and Election Protection for American Integrity Representative Initiative, said the legislature ought to be ashamed. They're right. They're right. If these Republicans cannot get their act straight, they need to just go away. Right? Case in point, there's a runoff in Oklahoma for governor. I think it is. Yeah, for governor. Mozzie is running to get elected as the new governor because Governor Stitt is term limited, right? So he's in a runoff with this other guy. I can't think of his name is right now. But the runoff is not until August 25th. But it's been discovered the guy that's in the runoff against Mozzie, which is Trump's pick to be the new governor of Oklahoma, the guy that's challenging him donated to Joe Biden's campaign in 2020, and he also donated to the Lincoln Project. He's disqualified at that point. He should lose by a landslide. Mozzie needs to be putting that in every one of his campaign brochures that he's actually sending out to everybody else. All right? All right. So, day 53. Give me a second here. I'm going to get us over to the Dan Bongino show because I'm going to do a raid because I got to raid out of here myself. There it is, Dan Bongino. It's called Happen. It's Happened Again. Oh yeah, they're talking about Joe Biden. Woohoo, doggy. Okay, give me a second here. Get ready for it. I'm going to rate it a little bit early. I will see you on Monday morning. All right, unless the world ends. All right. So hope everybody has a great weekend. Thank y'all for letting me do this. All 7.5 hours of podcasting this week. All right. I know there's going to be a whole lot of stuff happening. Let's hope that all cool heads prevail about the stuff in the Strait of Hormuz, and the IRGC is told to go pound sand. All right. And Hezbollah stopped fighting, and Israel too. Right. But enjoy yourself. I will see y'all Monday morning. I'm going to initiate the raid right now, 5 minutes early. Enjoy the Dan Bongino show. And this is James Pierce with the JP8 report. I will catch you on the flip side. I'm out.